Hello and welcome to Runkle of the Bailey. My name is Ian Runkle. I'm a Canadian criminal defense and firearms lawyer. Today I want to talk about something that a lot of you have asked me about, and that's how did I get permission from the government, legal authority, to buy all sorts of prohibited firearms, including machine guns? You might be saying, wait, you can do what? Yes, well, if I wanted to, I could legally buy this thing. This is for sale in Canada right now. Note that it doesn't actually come with this mount thing on it, but the gun is the Dishka, and it costs $12,000. Now, I'm not going to buy it because I don't have $12,000 plus ammunition, and this thing shoots 12.7, so it's really expensive to shoot. It's a great big heavy machine gun, which is cool, but I certainly can't afford it. Now, how did I go about doing this? Well, I got what is called a business firearms license, and a business firearms license, there's all sorts of different types of it. Now, the most common for these is you'll have these for Canadian Tire if they're selling guns. Not all of them do, but some of them do. And they need a license that allows them to sell guns. But there are different sort of levels of this because the one Canadian Tire has probably doesn't allow them to touch prohibited firearms. But there are a limited number of purposes for which you can get a license to have prohibited firearms. And one of them, the one I sort of went with, is for film armoring. Now, the reason why I did that is because I do motion pictures, right? This we're doing one right now. This is a film. So I do legal commentary, and because of that, I want to be able to comment on legal issues around, firearms, prohibited weapons, etc. And I was running into a bit of an obstacle in terms of what I can do and what I can't do. So the application process is onerous. How did I go about doing it? Well, the first thing is you got to make sure that you're actually going to be in a position where this is a reasonable ask. And this is fairly tough because if you're looking to get into like Hollywood film armoring, well, what are your qualifications? Like, that's actually a tough business and one that requires some real knowledge, because if you're not sort of knowledgeable about what you're doing, then you could very well kill somebody. See, for example, the entire Rust trial. Now, that's not really what I want to do. I don't want to do like major motion pictures. I don't want to do Hollywood. I don't want to do anything. I just want to be able to talk about things on my YouTube videos. So, how do you sort of have a credible showing that that's something that you could do? Well, I guess start with law school and then spend like a decade doing firearms law and becoming sort of recognized as knowing what you're talking about in that field. Then start a YouTube channel, and I didn't even bother applying until I was at like 100,000 subscribers because I don't think they're going to approve you if you're at like 20 people. So anyway, I made the application, and the first thing you got to know is the application is expensive. So this is from the form, and you'll note here if you want to apply for prohibited firearms other than prohibited handguns, so like that Dishka that we just mentioned, the application itself costs $1,500. Note, that's just to apply. If they refuse you, then you are just out that money. It's like, thank you for the money, but we're just going to keep it. So make sure you don't apply if you're not, if you're not serious about it and you're not credible and so forth. This isn't like an end run. This is, I legitimately want to be able to do videos discussing some of these issues, and this license is necessary. Now, the next thing is they're also going to want you to have good security. I'm not going to go into detail about my security because obviously, but it includes like great big safes that cost a ton of money. So all in, I'm probably around 10 grand in the hole for, just getting into a position to be able to apply for it before I even got the license. But I did actually get the license, and the license you can see includes, and I've got a bunch of stuff redacted. We're not unredacting that, but supplying or possessing for theatrical productions, motion picture, television, video, or publishing, restricted firearms, non-restricted firearms, prohibited handguns, prohibited firearms again, prohibited handguns again, prohibited weapons again, restricted firearms, prohibited ammunition. I don't know why, but every page has this same map of Canada on it. Cool. Ammunition, prohibited ammunition, again, prohibited devices, so again, non-restricted firearms. Glad that was on there. Seems like kind of an afterthought after like prohibited weapons was listed, or prohibited firearms was listed multiple times. Now, I didn't get some of the things I wanted. Like I wanted manufacture for all of those things, but they didn't put it on, which is annoying because like I want to do a video about nunchucks and I can't because I would want to make a set and I can't. I've got import of non-restricted firearms, restricted firearms, ammunition, prohibited handguns, but not a bunch of the stuff I want to import. Like I would like to import some prohibited weapons, but I can't. So yeah. Now, all of this is kind of cool, but also kind of useless. And what I mean by kind of useless, and I know it sounds like I'm complaining about something that lots of people watching this would be like, I really want this, but it is kind of useless, and I'll explain sort of why. And to do that, I will show you the first prohibited firearm I bought. I have bought a prohibited firearm, and I've got it, and it's this thing. And you might be saying, Runkle, why are you showing me a picture of a lonely gun, like tiny little gun sitting in a giant safe? Well, the reason why I'm showing it to you as a picture is because this license isn't actually letting me do all the things I wanted to. So, ammunition. This is a restriction that they put on the license. There must be no live ammunition in a transport vehicle, on the production set, or in possession of an employee in relation to motion picture, television, video, or theatrical productions, including the discharge of firearms at ranges or elsewhere. And so that is exciting because it means that if I want to film a video like this video, I can't have live ammunition anywhere on the set. Now, the set for most of my videos is my house. Like I film things in my house. And so I can't have live ammo here, and I do have live ammo here, and I don't know where else I'd put it. Like, I don't know if it would count if I moved it all to the garage. Would that be sufficiently far? Or do I have to like move all of my ammunition to like a storage facility in order to, film a video where I could actually be holding on to the real handgun and not like a piece of paper? So yeah, anyway, I am going to court to try to fight them to say, hey, you gotta make this useful. But I don't know how that'll go because, quite frankly, when you're going to court and you're saying, yes, they said I can buy machine guns, but they're not letting me buy machine guns enough, the court might be a little skeptical. They might have some concerns. The other thing is that I may actually have to bring a constitutional argument. In fact, not so much may, I do, because the law gives a literal A to Z list of the reasons why you can have a prohibited firearm. And, that's all sorts of things, but, film and so forth is one of them. But what isn't listed there, or rather, it's kind of interesting. One of the reasons why you can have prohibited firearms is if you're planning on providing instruction and, education to police forces or public officers, which would include crown prosecutors. So it's legal for me to get guns for the purpose of providing education in like the legal issues and so forth to police and crown prosecutors. I didn't actually ask for that, but, could have. But that's not really who I want to provide education to. I would also like to provide education and courses for defense lawyers, especially, and also maybe judges. And that's not actually allowed. The law doesn't allow for a business to exist for the purpose of providing education to defense lawyers. Prosecutors, yes. Defense lawyers, no. So I'm probably going to have to bring a constitutional challenge on this on the basis that this creates a violation of the right to a fair trial, because it seems difficult to have fair trials If the prosecution can get education in issues that might be highly relevant in a case, for example, like let's say a case is around 3D printed firearms, prosecution can get all sorts of education, possibly up to and including like printing out 3D printed firearms and shooting them. Defense lawyers can't. And I think that's actually a really big problem because we should have equal footing. I'm not saying that the government should be required to provide education to defense lawyers. Far from it. I'm saying that they should not be able to say, we get this education, but you guys, like, that business can't even exist. So I'm probably going to have to challenge that, and I've got that scheduled in court. Yeah, it's a whole headache, and yeah, we'll just have to see how that goes. But for now, I have a prohibited firearm right now, and we'll probably get others in future. But yeah, it's odd. The other thing I guess it does allow me to do is some videos, or I've been able to buy a prohibited weapon, which is kind of funny because it's actually like a knife that is sold in Home Depot. I'm planning on doing an update on my knife laws in Canada video. And so I got this business firearms license to let me legally buy a knife that they sell to just anybody at the Home Depot. But I wanted to make sure that I'm not violating the laws, even though I think Home Depot might be. Our laws are pretty stupid in that regard. So anyway, thank you guys for watching. I hope you found this to be interesting or educational. A lot of people asked about this one, and yeah, I just thought I'd provide some detail there, and I thought you guys might think it's funny that I've got to have my little gun picture instead of like being able to take it to the range and so forth. So we'll see. Hopefully I can get all that fixed up and have some pretty cool videos planned for as soon as it's possible, which is not now. So that's again, thank you as well to my Patreon supporters who are in the description below. If you want to join them, there's also a link. Sorry, the link is in the description below. The Patreon supporters I'm going to read. So at the $50 level, Bottle Shock and Oz, Canada's National Firearms Association, the Canadian Shooting Sports Association, and the Canadian Coalition for Firearms Rights, PJ's Forever, Angela Skelton, Cielo, Kyle Fox, Purple Dragonair, and Shay B. And at the $20 level, Mark, Lindsay Metcalf, Larry Kalniak, Drunk All of the Baileys, Cameron Johnson, Andrew Elsich, and Marvin CZ. Thank you as well to the $10 supporters who will be in the crawl just coming up next. Thank you for watching. Hope this is armed with knowledge, and click all the buttons, the like, the subscribe, all those buttons. They're great buttons. Bye.